First off, I gotta give it up to God.
Yeah, baby.
It's only by the grace of God that a goofball, introvert, 19-year-old like myself can get this thing high, get this thing rolling. And it's all of our amazing executives, my mentor Mark. Definitely wouldn't be here with all the great leadership. I mean, really, this has just been a culmination of just beating against the door for 5.5 years. And I'm just nothing more than a reflection of a lot of people winning, a lot of great mentors, but I got to give it up to my rat pack. I go to battle with you guys every single day, and I will for the rest of my life and the rest of Team World Ventures. I mean, we got the best thing on the planet. And just as I've watched the rest of the recognition today and watching all of the young guns coming up here, it's just like just affirmed my belief on how long this thing is going to last for generations, because we've just got so much great stuff happening. But I got started in this. For those of you that don't know me, I saw it 5 years ago. I was 19. I was in my freshman year up at UNC. And the night that I saw it, so I've got, my parents are divorced, and so, my dad, lived comfortably. And my mom, I spent the majority of the time with her, and she just, she did the waitressing deal for a good, since I was born, and we were just always struggling for money. And I always knew I was supposed to do something big. I just didn't know what it was. And so I just kind of wandered through life aimlessly trying to find something that I could really get behind. And so the night that I saw World Ventures was a night my mom had come home with maybe, I don't know, she worked a double, made like $8 worth of tips, and she was just balling. And that was a night that I just made a decision, like, whatever it is, like, this is gonna be it. Like, we're gonna change everything for our family. And it wasn't literally 3 hours later that my best friend Mark Brown showed me this business. And not only did he introduce me to this, he introduced me to my faith when I was 16 years old. And I give it up to you, my buddy Mark, because you are been my biggest cheerleader. Our core group, Brian, Sarah, and David, wouldn't be here without you guys, and I'm just so humbled and blessed with the opportunity that we've had. But like Mark was sharing with you guys, we just went to every training. The first training I went to, it was 3 months into it. We went to February acceleration. 7 of us packed in the van, didn't have the money, figured it out. We drove 14 hours through a blizzard, stayed in a hotel, and I remember us sitting in the hall one night after the first day, because the first day I got to meet Mark, and I was just like, I just fell in love with everything about this company. I'm like, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And we were sitting in the hall eating pizza, and we were just talking about how awesome this day was going to be 5 years down the road, or however long it took when we finally won. But we just decided that we were gonna win. And so that's the first thing that you guys need to do, and we've been talking about it all weekend, is some of you got your foot halfway in the water. You're deciding, do I do this, do I not do it? You're kind of kicking it around. You just need to jump in and go do it, all right? Because we made that decision that I was going to do this thing no matter what, no matter how long it took. And that's when you put yourself in the process. See, the night that I gave my life to Christ when I was 16, one of the first things that I learned from my pastor was that you've made this decision now, and this isn't when it gets easier, this is when the challenge begins. All right? Because now you're purpose driven, you know where you're going, and so the enemy's going to start taking jabs at you. All right? He's going to try to get you off course because he doesn't want you to get to where you're trying to get to. So the same thing applies to this business. When you get into it and you make that decision, you put yourself into the first part of the process, but that doesn't make it easier. That's just when the journey begins. And it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get it done. You just got to decide, hey, I'm going to win, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to cross my finish line. So that's what we did. I went to my first acceleration, and he's talking about Journey. We talked about this a little bit ago. Journey was $1,200. Did not have that. I had maxed out my credit card, maxed out anything that I had. Went to my bank because Mark said you need to be there. So I said, all right, I'm going to be there. We're going to figure it out. Went to the bank and I begged for an extra $1,200 on my credit card limit. And by some act of God, I got it because I just begged hard enough. And we went to Palm Springs that weekend. And if you haven't been to Journey yet, the last couple of days is like super intense goal setting. And you get to a point where it's really late in the night, you're really groggy, really tired, and you're just writing down goals that you don't even know what you're writing down. And I think that's why it's designed, to really take that filter down. And a lot of the stuff that I wrote down, I was busting open my Journey book the other day. Yeah. Woo! And it's just kind of crazy when you set those goals like Byron was talking about. 3 of these things happened within the last 48 hours. And it's crazy. And this was 4 years ago when I was broke. I had 90 people on my team. And I could not fathom any of this. This was not something not even in my mind. I was just so tired, I wrote it down. The first thing on here says, I'm so blessed to be standing on stage, being recognized for IMD in front of thousands of people. The other one was, I will be on the cover of Voyager, which I just finished my photo shoot for. And I will get introduced by Marcusetta, which just happened. You gotta make a decision, all right? Scott Ross taught us that this thing is all about sowing and reaping, all right? And I got to a point 4 years into this. My first year I made $8 grand, all right? When you're part-time you make $8 grand, that's awesome. When you're full-time, not so awesome, all right? Made $8 grand. Second time, made 16, my second year I made $18,000. Third year I made 26. My fourth year into this thing, going as hard as I can, I made $36,000, and I was barely making full-time income. All right, and I was barely getting by because we were still going to trainings, doing everything we needed to do. And what happened was, I got to a point where I was beat down, like I was checked out. I would never quit, because one thing I learned, that this business is a faith-based business, and so anytime I ever wanted to quit, see, our job is to sow seed and sow it diligently, and then it's God's job to make it land on fertile ground, right? Yep. And what happens is, every time I wanted to quit, I just had this burning in my ear, like if I quit, that's basically like me looking God in the face saying, I don't trust you to deliver, all right? And I couldn't do that, and so 4 years into this thing, a culmination of things were happening where I was broke, all right? I was, relationships, my life, like everything was just crashing down. I had wires sticking out of my tires, I had a broken window and rain would hit me when I'd be driving to meetings, couldn't afford to do anything. I'm 15 grand in debt, and like Brian was talking about earlier, and I haven't shared this with many people, I went and applied for my first job because I checked out, I needed to make some money. And there was an event going on in Breckenridge, our Go IMD weekend, that I did not want to go to. It was the first event I didn't want to go to. And for whatever reason, I couldn't get this job. I've been applying for 2 weeks, and they just would never get my resume for whatever reason online. And so I'm really frustrated about this. Didn't want to go to the event. David paid for me. My best buddy David paid for me to go, so I felt obligated to go. And I didn't tell him this, but the night that we got there was no training, but I went off and just kind of did my own thing for about 20 minutes, and I just broke down. And I was just praying to God, like, what do you want me to do? Like, what am I doing? And he just, like, clear as day, just said, I'm preparing you, all right? Like, I didn't get you this job because I wasn't preparing you to get a job. I was preparing you to go lead an army of thousands of young people. And so, that weekend, I just had a new excitement about me, and I was all in again. And since then, it has just been like night and day. My fourth year made 36. Fifth year I made 192,000. This year I've cleared 160 already. Been on 47 vacations. My lifestyle has just been a complete transformation. I got to scratch my mom a $5,000 check the other day just to pay off the rest of her car, just because I can. And so that's just the deal. It's like, you've got to sow seed diligently, all right? It does not matter how long it's going to take. I don't know what your day is. It might be 12 months. It might be 4 years. It might be 4.5, like it was for me before you strike gold. But when it happens, you just got to make sure that when God's timing, it needs to converge with your preparation. And when that magic moment happens, that's when the breakthrough happens, all right? So let's go get it.
Best. You can be the King Kong banging on your chest.